Hey guys, I wanted to show you my appliance store real quick and do a run through. But before we even get inside, what appliance store, at least used appliance store, doesn't start with a bunch of appliances outside that people have dropped off overnight. We're going to go inside and take a look and see what a appliance store looks like when it's running, or when it's closed really. But I did one of these videos for my brother about a month ago and thought I would do one for my own channel. I've also cleaned up a little bit on the inside, not so much the outside, so there's a little bit more to see. I started the business about 3 years ago, and we moved to a new facility about 6 months ago, which is a little bit nicer. It's a lot bigger. So I'm just getting the lights on for the workers that are going to come in. I know it's a mess on the left. That's my shipping station that I'm responsible for, so it kind of doesn't look the best. I got lots of fridge parts up on top of those shelves, the palletized racking, and then I got a stove here that we're going to have to go back and then test and clean in a little bit. What we actually have ready to go is over here in the main aisles in the middle. On an appliance store like this, I don't pay a whole lot of money to buy these things initially before we start cleaning and testing them. I always try to be really nice to people on buying, but then over time I've realized that a lot of people will not tell you the truth on things. So I start low, and if I'm out a little bit of money, it's not the end of the world. So the crazy thing is, on the left you have a probably mid to late 90s Whirlpool washer, and then on the right you have a Maytag Bravos, which is probably 2012, 2013, something like that. Truth is, I paid the same for both of these at wholesale, which was about $50. I got lucky to where both of them were working, which was a really good deal, but it's never often that way. Usually on these types of washers, there's an issue, and on this one, I got lucky and there wasn't. But generally, I'm paying between $15 and $50 per unit on washers and dryers, and then going from there if they work or not. I sell them for anywhere from probably about $100 at the absolute minimum, which I don't have a $100 washer to show you, but generally I would put minimum $100 on any unit and then go up from there. I live in a really poor area, so the amount of money people have isn't the greatest, so I can't demand super high prices, but it also means that my inventory costs are not too bad either. So here's another line of washers. Generally, I will have this row all stacked with product at the start of a weekend, but we're a little bit behind because we had a really busy week last week. Same thing with fridges. I sold pretty much every fridge I had. Now on stoves, again, I probably pay $20 to $50 each for most of them. We have a pretty easy time fixing stoves unless the board's bad. Even if the board's bad, they're easy to fix. They're just very expensive to replace. So even on, say, this coil top here, I probably spent $50 on it at most. And we'll turn the stoves for minimum $100. Sometimes I'll have some nice ones that'll go over $200. I don't make a ton on them, but there's a little bit of profit there. Where I make the most money in terms of margin are fridges like this. This is a Samsung that we still have to go through and replace the thermistor in the back of it, which I have in this deli drawer here. Hadn't got to it yet. I paid $100 for this fridge, and I'm hoping to get about $450 to $500 out of it. If it didn't work, I could junk it and make quite a bit of money on the parts, but I'd rather get it all in one swoop in terms of money. Don't really have a lot of good looking fridges right now. It's pretty bad. I got to paint this fridge, which looks terrible, but once we get it painted, they look really, really nice. Got a higher end Electrolux there that I kind of got hosed on. I trusted one of my buyers to do me a favor and get a good fridge, and it has an error code on it, as well as the ice maker being just about shot. I don't know if it will be seen in the picture or not, but it has a common problem these Electroluxes do. It will get ice, will penetrate the gasket right here, and there sometimes can be a ball of ice. When they brought it in, I told them, hey, this is not really what I was expecting. It's probably a good fridge, but when it has problems straight out the door. I paid a little bit more than $100 for this, so I'm not really happy with it. Doing a delivery today on this fridge. We actually repainted this yesterday. It looked like one of those fridges over there, and through one can of appliance paint, now looks just about brand new. Well, other than the hammer marks or whatever is there. But we got to put the evap panel on the back of it, which shouldn't take too long. And then give it a quick wipe down and we'll be good to go. And then here are the used units that we haven't tested yet. I got, oh my gosh, 40 units that I'm going to have to fix over the next few days. I do have a few workers, so it's doable over the course of a few days. All we do is just bring them back to our test room, and then we run everything through. If it's a washer, wash cycle. If it's a stove, we just heat it up and run it for a while. If it's a dryer, we put a load of clothes in it and just see if it dries. But we have a test rack here with a bunch of cleaning supplies. So big thing on washers is running them through a whole cycle and just seeing what they sound like, what they act like, and go from there. This is our cleaning pile. Got about 4 or 5 stoves that we got to clean. Our scrap pile is back here, which these are all units that we could fix, most of them, but sometimes the cost to fix a unit is more expensive than what it's really worth. And we can always get a part or two off of any given unit. If it's a universal part like a drain pump or suspension rods, we'll keep it. If it's a timer or control board, we'll usually put it online and sell it and at least get the money back that we paid for whatever on the unit. This is our testing station for our stoves and dryers. Plugs are over there, and then we got some units that are tore down that need put back together because they're being cleaned. So we have, my gosh, probably like 130, 150 units total if you counted everything in this building. So it's a lot of stuff in here to do, but you'd be surprised how fast you can get through it. 2 weeks with 3 people, and it can be tore down very, very fast. Here's another room with some fridges in it that we haven't got to. There's a super nice one on the left that I gotta figure something out on a thermostat for. Sometimes we end up getting so busy we miss some nice units just because we're trying to turn our cheaper stuff, which goes really, really fast. I had a really good last weekend. Well, weekend and really last 7 days. We ended up doing a little bit over $6,000 excluding eBay. And if you're paying $20 to $50 a unit, it's a lot of appliances, but it's also a lot of money. So it's a fun business to be in. I started out and still don't know a whole lot about appliances, but I've learned a lot in the process. I'm not a very handy person when it comes to fixing things, or at least I wasn't, but now I'm a little bit better at it. Got some red drawers over there with more parts in them, but usually we try to keep this entire row double stacked with washers and dryers. So on a good weekend, we will have this row totally lined up with a lot of different units on them. And of course, this gimbal really doesn't like me right now, but it's a good business to be in. I don't have a lot of complaints about it. It's definitely something I'm not used to. I'm not the handiest person in the world, like I said, but it's taught me a lot and given me confidence on being able to be more handy, more DIY with stuff, both at the shop as well as in person. This is my parts supply area. I wanted to show this to you, but had to edit out how bad the middle part is. So I'm just showing you a few boxes of parts that I have. These are washer boards, mostly for front load washers. Basically, every part you see is worth between $20 and $60. I probably have on these shelves about $5,000 worth of parts just put in an order that I know of and understand, but no one else would. And I know it needs arranged more, but it works for where I'm at right now. Got some interface boards, some fridge boards. I have some interfaces here that work for washers. You would be surprised how much they're worth. There are also some valves that I'm storing that we are not going to sell, but are just going to keep. Now we're going to go over to a few other parts that I have. I have some washer boards in this box. I probably have 25 washer boards at $50 to $120 each. So there's quite a bit of money. That's off the Cabrio that I did a teardown video on. I'm still surprised that one hasn't sold at $120 given how nice and new of a unit it is. Here's today's current part shipment. Here is a dryer timer that's sold. These are 2 boxes of shelves for refrigerators, a motor for a GE washer. There is another dryer timer there in that package. And then on the bottom is a Samsung element for a stove, and I can't remember what's in that other long box. I think it's a GE washer interface as well. One final thing I wanted to do before I finish this video out was to show you a few things that I just listed online as part of the online sales. We pulled a bunch of units off over the weekend in terms of scrap, and this is just a few pieces that that we got off of some of the bad units. That, for example, this control board from a stove, the elements were totally smashed in it. They got damaged in transport, so we bought it for the board and a few other pieces, and found out that this one lists for 120 bucks online. This is a Whirlpool dryer board for a modern dryer. They sell very quickly. This one got listed for $80. This is a washer board for a Maytag Bravos, I think. It's not worth a whole lot. I think it's about $35 that we listed it for. This is a inverter board for a GE washer. This one listed for something like $60. And then finally had a dryer board here that lists for about $40. So all in all, I listed these 5 parts for, I think it's like $300. Didn't take me too long to do, so it's a nice little bit of money. I was really shocked on how much this board is worth. Again, overall, I think I'd mentioned that right now I'm doing about $3,000 a month in eBay sales. I could make it grow quite a bit just by spending more time on listing parts. I still got a ton still to list, and have quite a bit that we have already listed in our inventory and in our store. Got a lot of refrigerator parts over there on the wall. So hopefully the videos explained quite a bit on what we do in terms of selling used appliances or fixing things up. My stock's a little bit low on refrigerators right now, and we're going to get those stacked back up over this week. It's very cyclical in the way that we get a lot of stuff in, we list it on Facebook Marketplace, it ends up selling, and then we end up not having a lot of inventory, and we got to go back and restock. So you can have a really good week followed up by a really bad week. That's just how it works right now due to staffing levels and how we sell things. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video that I shot for you real quick in terms of how the used appliance business works. If you have any questions, just leave a comment and I will try to get to answer those either in a video or just a straight out comment. Hope you guys liked everything you saw. See you next time.